Fern looks to be facing some anger issues by almost making an impulsive, terrible decision. And Stark, well, keeps almost dying. However, this time, in the Foundation Festival arc where the Shadow Assassins want to yeet our feet goddess in the Great Mage Serie, something bigger may be in store for Stark's next development, as Fern learns to control her anger and think calmly and logically. So spoiler warning guys, if it wasn't already obvious. And so for this video, we're going to be talking about Fern and Stark's character development up until this point, and what can possibly happen as the Foundation Festival arc plays out. And if you guys want to know more in depth about the Foundation Festival arc regarding the plot, the themes, the symbols, check out this video right here. And if you guys want to know more about Yubel and Lan's character development and what can possibly happen in the Foundation Festival arc, check out this video right here as well. So yeah, let's jump right into it. While Fern and Stark have important roles as the mainstay traveling partners with Frieren on her journey to Oriel to find dead Himo the hero, one can say that their character growth since the Divine Revolte arc have been kind of stagnant. As characters, they are more or less the same, besides Fern, who is currently undergoing some inner anger issues, cause Stark keeps almost dying. From all of those mini side quests as they travel further north, closer to the Demon King's castle, Stark and Fern are the perfect shonen shoujo combo that are great vehicles to explain these little mini lessons throughout these slice of life adventures with Frieren. And if you guys watch my Stark video, you'll come to understand that he is a satirical shonen character, and that is how he's applied throughout the story. While Stark has grown more confident over time, he's still used to display as a contrast between his trauma-filled scaredy cat personality dynamic and one where we can rely on him when it matters the most. The Frieren story uses all these shonen tropes in playful ways for his character, where expectations for what he is and what he will do doesn't need explanation throughout, as he just beats up dragons and continues to be the ultimate tank that literally almost dies every time by taking one for the team. Stark has a natural progression as typical shonens do, being trained by random masters off-screen, by Craft the Monk, by Vol, and especially when he's MIA during certain arcs. This may lead one to think that whatever he's been doing off-screen that we have not seen, that maybe we'll be able to see all of that training come to light. After getting impaled by Revolte, getting 2 poisonous arrows from the Shadow Assassins, blocking a gank attack, and being healed again by our GoTP, the next natural thing we may see from Stark might have been teased from Aizen himself in the Goddess Monument arc in chapter 118. After the first class mage exam, we can also say that Fern's growth for inner self-development has more or less been the same. She's like the reliable and responsible grandma that keeps her master on her toes, shows affection for Stark in her "I run this relationship" ways. However, Ferns' abilities and where her arc leads us to is much more well defined compared to Stark's satirical nature, since our introduction of the importance of the Zoltrak spell against Qual. Throughout each arc, it's pretty clear what Fern excels at. Against Lugner, she shoots her pew-pews really fast and hides her mana. This is a recurring ability unique to Fern in terms of speed, as it shows up again in their most recent dire situation against Lore, the nun of the Shadow Assassins. During the Divine Revolte arc against the 2 demons, Frieren once again allows Stark to stay with Ganal to protect the dead villagers' bodies before they get transported for a proper burial, and allows Fern to fend off another powerful demon by herself. This is the same approach like during the Demon Anya Forger arc. Frieren hits her with the "Shibiai" Methode alludes to Fern's strengths, and that is mana detection, shooting pew-pews faster than anyone else, and this was the birth of a newfound ability. She shoots pew-pews from really far away, that is, from an undetectable range. During the Golden Land arc, Both Stark and Frieren played major roles in helping protect Frieren until she finished analyzing Monk's memories to ungold themselves and the people of Dinkin's village. This is the one arc where Stark and Fern show that they can't win every battle that they're in, as going up against Solitaire showed exactly that within Fern's own flashback, as they're waiting for Frieren to wake back up, as Frieren warns her about facing against unknown greater demons. They are unknown for a reason, because everyone they face is dead. Although we don't really know for sure how the battle would have turned out, with Fern and Stark facing off against Solitaire before turning into gold, as during that fight Fern was starting to find some weaknesses with Solitaire by maintaining her speed of pew pews, but with mana dense, still fast pew pews. However, it really felt like Solitaire was kinda just toying with them, but that is where, you guessed it, pew pews from really far away worked again. Then there was the Goddess's Monument arc, where it was a literal blast from the past, and we got to see what an adventure with the hero's party would have looked like, as Fern and Stark were MIA from that arc, which finally leads us into the Assassinate the Feet Goddess arc against the Shadow Assassins. Commander Reve wants to extinguish magic completely and yeeting the Great Mage Serie, like how he may have supposedly defeated the Great Mage Minas, the which 20 years prior, Serie is at the top of the list, with Frieren and all the other mages right behind her. At this point, Stark and Fern's character aren't as interesting as characters, as a plethora of new characters get introduced, from Shadow Assassins to Special Magic Forces, to Zion's return with Gorilla being a part of the Shadow Assassins, in which is an entire mystery of its own, to the Yubel and Megane adventures of putting the reins on your girl before she becomes a villain, and Snippety Snips Megane. The plot's concept of wanting to yeet the Feet Goddess Serie and the sheer amount of characters involved in this arc leaves very little room for Fern and Stark to shine a bit brighter, but they do have potentially big moments lined up for their characters. As I mentioned earlier about Fern's ability being about fast pew pews, dense but still fast pew pews, and pew pews from really far away, her next maturing development arc is alluded to, her anger and her needing to be calm in these pressure and tense situations. The manga doesn't really show Fern acting that wildly out of place from anger, but Frieren herself mentions multiple times of Fern thinking too irrationally due to Stark almost being yeeted again, making her want to make rash decisions that can lead to just complete mayhem. I think it's clearly stated that her want for revenge and getting back at these Shadow Assassins that have nearly yeeted her loved one is a clear point of emphasis for her character. It's also one where she can display that she can think rationally within a fight, like how Stark and herself faced against Solitaire before turning into gold. In chapter 140, her dialogue with dressing up for the festival ball to celebrate magic with the elites of society shows that she's ready for some action, but she has to be ready to calmly make smart decisions before she blasts "Go TP" to smithereens by accident. Stark being a warrior, more or less, is used as exposition to enhance how much warriors are natural weaknesses against mages. This props up Commander Reve as an extremely lethal enemy, different from how they've been fighting all these demons that may be able to yeet Serie. It's a creative way to show that Stark can yeet Frieren and Fern given the right scenario, which is within close distances, like how that old Shadow Assassin guy almost got them. From Stark's perspective, it only took one poisonous arrow from Wolf the barkeep, blocked an attack from Gazelle the street vendor, before having to hit the hay. If we take the approach with Stark's character, as he is shonen tropes personified off screen and very satirical on screen, it's very clear what he can end up doing. Give us badass fights, take tons of damage, but end up with a spectacular, climactic shonen finishing attack. I am so hoping for like a Daisen Tengeki or something like that. For Stark's character, what we just want is just something really cool to happen. Take us home with an epic shonen ability builds upon his special attack, or pull out an entirely new one. Or can we just see him just tank like 3-4 Shadow Assassins? It's already implied by Gazelle and Shrit that it's going to take at least 2 of them to be even with Stark's ability. What if, especially with a priest like Zion to help protect him, Stark can end up with so many good moments, like against Lenny, like against Revolte, like the moment earlier in the arc protecting Fern. With as epic as this arc can be, with the creators taking an indefinite hiatus, it's a natural progression of the story to give us next level Stark moments, along with Fern. Being that the Shadow Assassin's goal is to just assassinate Serie and work extremely well as a team, we have to expect that Frieren will have to work just as well with Fern, Stark, and Zion, as Sense and Falsh has to do everything they can to protect Serie, while she's hopefully stomping on fools with their feet and dropping the best aura farming condescending lines. All in all though, for Stark especially, it's really coming down to an action-packed arc against so many different variables, from the Shadow Assassins to the Special Magic Forces. For Fern's character arc, I would like to see her mess up and make a rash decision, as it's already implied. That does lead to a negative outcome, temporarily, but in the end, she's able to redeem herself, which would complete the lesson for her current arc. Given what we know about Fern and Stark up until this point, and given what Frieren has said about Fern's current emotional control, I think this is the most obvious outcome for what we can expect out of Fern and Stark in the Foundation Festival arc. But let me know what you guys think will happen to Stark and Fern in this arc. Don't you guys want to see cool powers and badass fights? Because I do. Do you guys want Fern to show a little bit of weakness, like making a poor decision out of anger, only to redeem herself? Because I want these characters to have some flaws. It just makes for an epic comeback. And remember to check out my previous 2 videos about Frieren. Yeah guys, do me a favor, hit the like button if you like thunderclaps and pew pews, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com, and I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.